So do you think it's more toxic between Survivor and Killer in Dead by Daylight? Killer or Survivors? To me, this is a easy one. And I'm sorry, I know I'm late. I haven't done one of these in like a very, very, very long time. I just want to see more engagement. There are like a small percentage of people who actually love when I do this. I actually gain some subscribers because of these. So I do want to continue to do these, but sometimes I'm not that inspired. So please like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. If you want to see more, please comment, do more, right? Just comment down below. I'm gonna put it in the comment. I'm gonna post it and just say, hey, if you want to see more, put down below, do more of these, please. I'm a Survivor man with almost 8K hours and nearly 4 years of playing DBD, and I'm gonna tell you this now. Yes, we all know that killers can camp and tunnel. Those are like the two things that if killers do that, and then you also add the bleeding out or just slugging for the 4K, we understand how frustrating that can be. But when it comes to and I'm going to also talk about, I don't want to leave it out, but I'm also going to talk about like, personal attacks, ad hominems, all of these things that, Survivor will do to like another streamer or content creator as far as view shaming or just the way they look. I'm not saying killers don't do this. I'm not saying that they don't. And I know that Killer come from a side of like maybe misunderstood. The only thing I have an issue with killers is that, shout out to Nia, of course. She's running this podcast. She's running everything, right? She got the cat and everything. You already know I got to shout that out, right? But anyway, I'm just a co-host with her. We both just going to talk. We're not going to, like, she's a little sick. She's always going to be sick, so you're never going to really hear her talking. Does that make sense? Because obviously she's not real type shit. But here's the thing. My issue that I have with killers is that they, like, when it comes to them talking about the toxicity in DBD, they try to act like that they are justified of being that way because of the role that they play, the lone role that they play. Killers, you can be very toxic as well. Like, you can do exactly what survivors do as far as like, intentionally trying to target them based on whatever, based on their name, the sexuality. Sometimes there's people who have like their names, people have very interesting names in DBD. They have a very interesting name. This is a lot of people that play DBD, men and women, right? So like, this is the first game. I think, I'm not gonna lie, I don't want to go as far and say this, but DBD might be the most, at least as of late, diverse game between men and women, I think, since I've been playing games, and I'm 33. Because I've never played a game where both men and women play. Like, they play for real, especially women, right? And a lot of them are very good at the game, right? Like, seriously. Like, and I'm not trying to say it like as if, like, because you're a girl, you can't be good at the game. But I'm just saying, like, I've mostly played sports games and fighting games. And I'm not saying girls couldn't play those back then, but you've probably been seen as more of a time boy, I should say. But if you are a woman in DBD, and yes, you're gonna get like a lot of guys probably trying to like talk, who's a female gamer? You already know how that is, like the simping and all that stuff. But it's just that, like, in this game, I've never seen so many men and women. So you already know it's gonna be, I've seen like, other streamers and survivors talk about, well, she's a female, so there's no way she should be good, she should be doing the dishes and stuff like that. I'm not gonna get into like the gender wars in DBD and stuff like that, but it kind of ties into toxicness, because I ain't gonna lie, I trash talk about just the gameplay, and I think both sides do it, but then there's people who like go further than that, right? They talk about their views. If you are, you only got like 2 people in your stream, this is why you're ass, and all of that stuff. Like, stuff like that just doesn't help, right? But I kind of want to talk about, what I think the issue is when it comes to DBD. And I'm a Survivor main. I'm a Nia main. As you can see, we're supposed to be the most toxic, right? If you look at, people like to personalize characters and, survivors and killers in this game. Oh, especially with Survivor. If you play Meg, then you must be a noob. You must be whatever. If you play Nia, then you must be toxic. Like, it's automatic, right? Like, we got the flashlights clicking and stuff like that. I've never done that. In the 7,000 plus hours, I've never like, oh, well, you are an ace main, so you are automatically a juicer, or you are you might be inspired to want to, play with certain characters because you probably seen like a very good comp team or player use these guys and with the skins and stuff like that. I was even told in the very beginning not to use certain skins because, only these elite players, just stupid stuff. Like, I'm a grown man. I bought the game. I can use whatever skin I want, but they do that. They do that in this community. But I think if I had to guess, or if I had to like analyze how many arguments I've had between killer and survivors, it's gonna easily, overwhelmingly be survivors. And the reason why is because, first off, people have to understand, like, I'm a survivor. If I'm playing with like 3 other survivors and there's 4 of us, we have to rely on each other, right? So when I'm having people get upset because I might, I get it, I might message them, I don't lie about that. I slide in DMs, like, face first, right? And it's constructive criticism, but it's the fact and idea that, well, who are you that, tell me how to play Survivor? I had survivors say that. But I was like, well, listen, I wouldn't care if you just wasn't on my team, because what you do matters, right? Like, what you do matters. Like, I done literally seen a game, and we all can attest to this, that a game could be easily won and lost, but then just like one or few mistakes for survivors. Survivors have more mistakes to make, because you have to understand, like, if killers know how to chase well, if they know how to use certain slowdowns and they're competent and they know how to maintain their possible 3-gen, they should be fine against most survivors. Again, most survivors, not, the 1% players in the game that you can try to base off the numbers and, this is why we should nerf survivor again and buff killer because of the small percentage, even though I won like 1,000 games. That one game, though, that's not what we're talking about. Most killers don't even have to be that good at the game and still can easily get a 3K or more. Right, so most killers aren't losing the game. And in fact, they did show on the nightlight.gg website, it did show that the kill rates went down to 56%. However, I think this is just me, right? It might have to do with the 2v8. I do see like a little bit back and forth in that. 2v8 isn't permanent. I know a lot of people like to see if it is permanent, but it's not permanent. But I think that's the only thing that makes it like that. But for the most part, people also all have to understand, not to get off on a tangent, is that Survivor is not easy to play. It's not easy to understand. It took me at least a year plus to understand how to really loop and mind game. I remember this. I'm telling you, all I did was play DBD. I mean, I played other games and I used to stream other games because I was searching for different games, and eventually I came across DBD for like my past job, and I fell in love with it, right? DBD can be a game that's very easily addictive. Like, you will have a bad game as Killer and Survivor. You'll turn it off and be like, I'm going to turn it right back on. Like, I'm sure I'm not the only one who have had those moments, right? Like, I'm so mad, dude, man. I'm so tired of being tunneled. So you turn the game off. You might even DC and have that 45-minute penalty. And then, like, you probably restart the game just to see if it's still there. Then you be happy that it's gone. You can play another match. Like, that's just how it is. It's like, as a Survivor, I can have the bogus matches, all of that. The most... so annoying. And then, like, I would just go to the next match, and a lot of people say, hey, just go next, there's nothing wrong with that. But I think when it comes to survivors, we have so much mistakes, because even if you are a competent survivor and you know how to play, you still have to worry about the 3 other survivors on your team. And I'm not talking about just Swifting. I mean, there's a lot of people that obviously play solo queue, and people know that. That's why solo queue is always bad, because you are basically playing with the public. You're not playing with 3 other juicers and you guys all got like 12K hours total or 20K hours total and stuff like that. No, you're playing with just randos. And the reason why this thumbnail, I got a thumbnail of Meg being in the middle, and I got the prestige system. I want people to see that, like they got the prestige 100 icons, is because since the prestige system been implemented, people have this mentality, especially with newer players, thinking that you are very high level skill, probably top players, because you're a prestige 100. They did the same thing with the rank. Some of them still do this. Like, even veteran players, they still think rank 1 means something. I guess maybe back in the day, they kind of put you closer to your rank, but I promise you, rank does not mean your skill level, and so doesn't your prestige. It does not mean your skill level. In fact, DBD only can take so much skill. It is a lot of knowledge that go into the game, but it can only take so much skill. And the reason why I bring up this stuff and prestige levels and all of this stuff, how does it tie into survivors being toxic? Because you do not understand how many times, unless you're a high prestige player or you was able to show your rank and stuff like that, or your grade system iridescent 1. People like to say stuff like, oh, well, you're a prestige 100. There's no way you should have lost that chase. Oh, you're a rank 1. How are you a rank 1 and you're still doing this? How are you this? Like they say stuff like this all the time. And that can be very confusing, especially for newer players. Because newer players, they will mimic that. I mean, I remember I was arguing with this girl online on Twitter, or X, if you want to call it that now. And she had this mentality of like arguing with somebody now, listen, I have, at that time, I probably had like early 7,000 hours. The girl only had like 250 hours, dude. 250 hours. I'm not saying she shouldn't have a voice, But it's like, that is amazing how I can argue with somebody with not even 500 hours. I can argue even people with even 1,000 hours, and they have no real clue. Now, maybe they've been playing the game early and they don't play as much as I play it, because there are players who I've passed up with no time in hours. And they've been playing since legacy days of 2016, since 2017, of the emerging of the platforms. So I think mobile came out in 2019 or something like that. But it's just amazing how they have this mentality. Like, it's like a constant argument. And the thing that I see the most is this. I'll say it just like this. If you, in the community, is toxic in general, is that fair to, if that's fair to say, please let me know. Please comment if it's like, you know, not fair or I'm out of bounds. But I think it is toxic in general. And I'm going to tell you why. I'm a survivor, man. I cannot say anything while it coming off as entitled. I cannot tell you how many times people who have never watched my content or not on a consistent basis, I can see in the analytics that a lot of people who watch my content aren't even subscribed, but they probably come across it every now and then. And unless they actually listen to these takes, they think I'm an entitled survivor, man. That I complain about being camped and tunneled and slugged. I will get mad about slug. If I get tunneled, hey, guess what? I didn't have off the record. If I got tunneled, I didn't have DS. Even though they nerfed both of these perks already. I like a lot. But I blame myself because there's times I take it off. You ever take off the record? You ever take it off and you are reminded that very next game that you should have had off the record? Or you should have had DS because that killer, it's like they smell it. Like they know, oh yeah, somebody in here does not have off the record and it has to be the Fung. I know it's not like that, but I swear to God, it just feels like that. Like it's like these killers know when to tunnel, right? Because if I got it, I don't get it. I don't get tunnel. I get like a very nice killer. Now, a killer is just being a killer, right? So a killer doesn't have to be nice to me. They don't. I think that's entitled in itself, thinking that the killer don't have to chase you and because they already hooked you. See, if I'm entitled, I wouldn't even admit that. I wouldn't even say that. I would be like, well, no, well, go after everybody else. Why are you just doing this to me? I'm not one of those people, dude. I get it, right? I mean, killer have their, like, okay, for example, the thing that makes sense for killer to tunnel, at least for me, is let's say killer lose like 3 or 4 gens or, 3 gens, and now they're down to like 2 or 1. Okay, killer has to try to get a kill. So I can understand why they would try to, maybe they threw the game trying to chase that ace or that prestige 100 Fang or Nia, or they thought that Meg was a baby and got dropped off in chase. So they got to get it killed. They got to do something, y'all. I understand. I'm not mad at you. So they have to try to either slug to try to slow down and try to, get the game balanced back as far as, pressure. If I start slugging everybody, then that means I'm getting everybody off gens. Maybe the survivor's going to be very altruistic in this time. And then maybe I can try to go and turn this game around. Or I could camp and then hope that either people just leave and I get a kill and I still lose the game. Or bet on a lot of survivors, which they do this, throw the game. And by trying to be too altruistic, because a lot of survivors do not. I got another video coming up. It's going to be another podcast episode, by the way. So just, if you guys like this, please let me know. I love doing those other videos when I edit and you can see it, but these two is just going to be just for you to listen. But it's too many times survivors have thrown the game trying to be overly altruistic. So a killer can probably at the most, let's say if all gen's done and he's camping a survivor in the basement, which I don't advise survivors to do, you should leave, but a lot of them be playing with their friends. And if you're in solo queue, you don't understand why you see like a lot of people running down to a basement trap or a basement hag where she pretty much got everything trapped. Understandable. But at the end of the day, I understand the killer has their role. They have to win the game. But you know what a lot of survivors would do? They will go to that streamers, if they're streaming, probably, or they probably just like in the in-game chat, they're on PC, and they would just talk a lot of junk. They will say a lot of stuff like, oh, you must be bad, you must be this, you must be that. Listen, the killer has to win. And I understand that a lot of times survivors don't play killer enough. I don't play killer enough. I used to, just to try to like get better in chase and get better at understanding how to see things, because the more you play both sides, the more you have a clear somewhat of a clear understanding of, mind you, it still take you thousands of hours on both sides to understand it, but maybe you'll start to understand, like, okay, I see why killers came this way, because the killer sees his gen. I used to not even think that was a thing. Like, how did the killer know I'm over here? Forget, there's to be even before Nemesis and Lethal Pursuer. It's like, how did the killer know, right? Maybe barbecue and chili. Okay, you can see the aura after you get a hook, right? For like maybe 4 seconds or so, I don't know. Maybe they can see the red generator. Like, if you see what killers see, it make you move better as a survivor. Does that make sense? So I say that to say this is that I understand that Killer has a burden on performance because it's 1 versus 4. And they have to try to get as many kills as they can. They have challenges. They have to try to go after the entity or the person who is the obsession. So a killer has a burden of performance. And they may come off as a dick. But it is what it is. That's just how it is. But the nastiest thing survivors do. First off, before I even get into that, let's talk about how survivors treat other survivors. Let me go ahead and take this sip real fast. By the way, y'all, this video is actually sponsored by nobody. I'm just obviously like listen, almost I got a sponsorship, right? I almost got one. It's called I forgot what it's called. It's some type of vape, but it's not like a vape with nicotine. It's some type of, I don't know, fumes or fuse something. But I'm sorry, like I just didn't want, I don't do any of that. In fact, I almost died because I took an edible like last week Monday. That was by mistake. I didn't even know it was an edible. It was like this guy gave me a muffin. He didn't tell me what it was from a store that he just opened up, and then like now he got it. It says THC in the window, but like I didn't know what it was. And literally 25 milligrams, I ate it immediately. I don't do that stuff. I'm telling him I had to go to the hospital because like I literally felt like I almost died. So I don't do any of that. But I don't want to ever promote something that I'm just not for. Even if most of my audience is like I will say is of age. But I would say that it's just not for me. Like I like to do something that got to do with gaming or something to do with peace, something. But I don't want to do something like that. Especially if I got to show my face. I don't want to do that. A lot of stuff can be on the internet forever, so I'd just rather not do that. But let's talk about how survivors treat other survivors. The issue I have with survivors is, remember I was talking about earlier, right? How they personalize these characters, and it's cool. Like I like that DBD provides or people in the community. Because, you know, people make the community, like the game is the game. And then the devs and the people who like the marketing team, all of that stuff, they like to do stuff for the community. But it's the survivors who are enjoying the things and making it, you know, making drawings, these fan arts, all this stuff that you can see. But it could be also a negative thing. So like if you like Fung and you like to dress up as her and you do cosplay, that's awesome. But the issue I have is, oh, look at that Meg over there. Effing Meg, stupid Meg. Like she's Meg Griffin. Like it's crazy. It's like the name, and I guarantee you, like Megs now, like if you go out into the world and somebody named Meg, you probably just like think of them like as Meg Griffin or Meg on DBD. I don't like that. I just don't. That's just my opinion. I don't like it. I don't think that people are gonna stop doing it, but I just don't like it. I don't like that we have this mentality that just because you play as a survivor from side of killer or survivor, that you should just treat them like dirt or crap. Even if me, right? Like again, people go off prestige. My Meg, I want to say, is prestige 19, I think, or 17 or something like that. So she's not a baby prestige. No, in fact, she was my very first prestige 3 ever. Like when I was playing and they actually had prestige to where you can get up to prestige 3 at the max, and then you get the blade skins. She was my very first main, and she was my very first survivor. I got to prestige 3. David was the very first character I played because I was told at Panera Bread when I used to work there some years ago by a guy who, he probably just didn't really understand the game. Because if you think about it, most of the time, I'm trying to get people to understand this. I can understand the difference between female survivors and their frames and how it feels smooth to run with them. But when it comes to survivors, I'm going to be very clear, right? It does not matter what survivor you use. It does not matter. I want to be very clear. I'm going to say it again. It do not matter what survivor you use. Okay, you can juice with all of them. It's the killers that matters, right? Because killers have different movement, speeds, ability, perks. I mean, all perks are teachables and stuff at this point, but like abilities and add-ons and stuff, that's different. Those aren't crossed, but you can pretty much use perks and you can use life just as well. But Ace or Nia, it does not matter. It takes experience, it takes hours, it takes all of that stuff. But I just don't like that they have this mentality of just because you use a, if like me telling me to use David, right? I'm like, no, it didn't really matter. I just didn't like David movement. So I started using Meg. Meg was my very first survivor main. And so then eventually it became, I was using Nia, especially when I did like the face rework and stuff like that. So, okay, yeah, she's pretty to look at. I mean, again, yeah, it sounds weird, but hey, I just wanted Nia. So I started to use Nia a lot, and then when they came with the prestige system, I said, okay, cool, let me go ahead and try to get some views up, because at this time, I left my job at Panera and I would say, okay, let me go ahead and do this Prestige 100 journey and try to get some views. And I was getting views just being a Prestige 30. I was also getting targeted and tunneled. And when I hit Prestige 100 at some point, then, people thought I was hacking because it was just rarely to see them. But I guess what I'm saying is that, like, when I use Meg, the treatment is so different. I don't care what level of prestige you are. It's a stigma in DBD. If you use certain characters, you are that. If you are using Ace, you are automatically a juicer. Especially if you used this guy said the Russian fit. Ooh, that's so annoying. I cannot stand people. Especially these like, I cannot. He said, like, I'm gonna tell you what the Russian fit is that this guy literally said. And I'm not saying everybody thinks this, but this guy said the Russian fit. It's that comp Ace fit where, if you watch DBD for real, like, the black tuxedo looking thing, or like, no, not tuxedo, but like the black blazer with like the blue or black pants and like the Prestige 3 headpiece. And he just looked like he just juiced it up. And if you can't juice it up, then why are you even wearing that? Like, I don't know why people do that. Like, I don't care if you from NA, EU, if you have hours into the game platform especially if you are a survivor. That's another thing I want to get on too, right after I get done with this point about platforms. Is that people look at your skins. Like, if I was the Nia, right, and I got on let's say you didn't see my Prestige, and you saw that I put on like that flannel shirt with like, like the regular pants, and then I got the hat. Oh, I must be comp. Because only comp players wear that. I cannot stand some of you in this community. Notice I'm mostly talking about survivors. This is mostly survivors that do this. Survivors argue with each other about this. About outfits. Men and women. Right? I know in society, people like to act like women can't be as bad as men and all that stuff. That's the problem. I be having girls do the same thing. Right? Oh, your urban invasion as Nia. Your urban invasion. I can't even run the perk. Can I run the perk urban invasion? Can I do that? Can I live? Right? Can I do that? No, I can't, because it must mean I'm ass, right? Oh, I'm a hide in the locker. Do you know when I'm trying to do like my head-on play? I'm playing solo queue, by the way. When I try to do like my head-on plays, I would have, and a survivor see me in a locker, they will repeatedly spam it. And I even seen a streamer I was watching. I just happened to like scroll by, and I seen a streamer do that. Just keep spamming it. Like, why do y'all do that? And they got the nerve to get mad at Killer. We are teammates. See, when you play around like that, you know what I do? I just throw the game. I'm like, all right, well, you obviously don't need my help, right? You don't need my experience. You don't need my knowledge of the game if you're gonna be a hoe. And then it's like when I die or in the game, I'll get sacrificed, or the game is over with, or you die. You can see my perks. I have a locker build. But even if I didn't, why do that? These are like bannable offenses as far as like trying to sandbag each other on purpose. Not, oh, I'm running and I don't have bond, or I don't have empathy, and I didn't know that you were doing a gen right here, and all of these things. See, I blame people at the end of the day. Because, see, no matter what game you play, you're going to be the way you are. But DBD is a fascinating game. Because as much as skill as we want to have, and there are knowledge and things that I didn't even know. There are things I'm still learning about DBD, even almost after 8,000 hours. But what I don't like is that people have this mentality that they know everything. You can't tell them anything. Right? People are still people. You should be able to run any perk that you want, including no mid. I mean, yeah, it could be annoying. Don't get me wrong. Like, sometimes you just want to win the game, but the game is very RNG. It's not a skill. It's not like you're playing online matches. You're playing Madden or NBA 2K or fighting games where both of the sides can be equal. Killers have their abilities. Survivors have their team working abilities and their own individual perks and items to use to try to evade killer as much as possible. So that's why I have the issue with that. Another thing survivors do is the thing I was talking about earlier, is outside of just looking at the survivors that you use, like, oh, you're using Meg, you must be Ash, you must be brand new. You're using Claudette, you're gonna blend in, you're gonna hide, you're not gonna do anything, not gonna help on gens, right? Oh, you're an Ace, you have to be a juicer. So if you go down that one time and 15 seconds because you got sniped across the map by an eerie hatchet from a huntress, or Billy had lethal pursuer and just caught you. Oh, you must be Ash. You must be Garbo. They'll look at you on the hook funny. They'll give you nopers. But it's like, oh, if you're a survivor, you're not supposed to say anything about other survivors. I don't understand why y'all do that. That's so weird to me. And they got the nerve to get mad at Killer because Killer's by himself. This is not 2v8. I understand 2v8 you get help on. But Killer, they have to kill. A lot of times killers aren't that toxic. Now. I will say, you do have killers who can be toxic, right? They do that dry humping thing on the ground, right? I don't know who started that, but I mean, it's just people do it, right? It becomes popular. It becomes a thing. Killer like to hit people on the hook because maybe the chase went a little bit too longer to their liking, right? Because apparently we're supposed to just roll over it and just allow you to hook us, and then just you can call us garbage anyway, right? Killers definitely can be toxic. My issue with Survivor is we're teammates. Killer can be not advocating for anyone to be toxic, but it's like if Killer gonna do what they're gonna do, Killer only have his or herself to worry about. You have teammates. Everybody have different skill levels and hours into this game. And there's times I have to even remind myself, like, hey, guess what? Not everybody's on the same level. But I'm not going to act like I'm a saint, and I'm not one of them people where, oh, you'll pull up a clip from me going to somebody's stream because, yes, I had to do that today. I had to slide in. Because I had a Survivor for some reason. I don't know what it is. Let me talk about this real fast. I had this David, I think. Right? And we was in Auto Haven, of course, where we go up against a Blight. Don't you just love Blight that you can outplay him, but he's like I've always called him the dead heart of all killers. Why? I'm gonna tell you why. Because dead heart was the perk that, in the original form, you could, dash and, you press a button, whether it's E on PC, keyboard and mouse, or just X if you're on console or whatever you're on, I don't know. And then you automatically get like the distant dash. You get dead heart for distance. That's what they used to say back in the day, right? So I'm not dead hard just to dash your hits. It's dead hard to distance to shack, so I can keep looping you. Yeah. So to me, even if you outplay a Survivor, I guess they complain that if you just press one button, you can dash. And mind you, they had perks that they could counter it. Like, hey, if you touch a gem, which you have to complete to try to beat Killer and escape, that you can make him exhaust. And Mindbreaker, I think that's how that works too. I'm trying to think another one. It's another perk that people don't use anymore that I forgot. But if you held on to a gen, it would make you exhausted, and then you have to walk off. And if you were like a sneaky killer, you can catch them off guard. They couldn't use it, right? Because they'll be still holding forward or still holding that turbo button, so they wouldn't be able to get that exhaust back. But the point I'm saying is that Blight to me is like that with his ability. Like I can outplay him, but then if I'm in the middle of nowhere, I'm trying to get to another pallet, he's just gonna run and catch me. So I outplayed him, but he can just catch up and catch me anyway. And that's not even including his dumbass add-ons. So I guess what I'm saying is that I'm trying to think. Where was I? I'm trying to think. Damn, where was I kind of got off and Oh no, okay. I remember. So David was on his gen, and we were going against Blight. No. Why did I even bring up Blight? It wasn't even Blight. It was the Huntress. Okay, my dumbass. It wasn't even Blight. It was Huntress. By the way, y'all, please like this video if y'all like this podcast. This is all audio, by the way. I should have said that in the beginning. I'm gonna put it in the description. These are not meant for you to be watching while you're at the gym or while you're driving or while you're even working. You can just listen to my calming voice. If it's calming at all, you can just listen to it. Okay, that's the point and purpose of these. If you have YouTube music like me, you can listen to this on YouTube. You can go to my podcast episodes. You can go to my channel and just look at the latest podcast. I'm always gonna have them in the playlist. I don't have them anywhere else, but I'm pretty sure if you have premium YouTube Premium, which I would never do, that's like $18. It used to be like $11. Now it's like $18, $20 a month. No, but you can play it on lock screen, so that way if you're busy, you can listen to it. That's the goal and that's the point. But to make a long story short, we went up against the Huntress. She was just busting our ass. It is what it is. Okay, I'm on the hook. I'm ace. We got David still on the gen. We got Nancy. He was a streamer. Had a flashlight. I'm already irritated with flashlight users because they never stay on gens and they complain why we lose games and they always throw in the game. But I forgot, somebody was in the basement. I don't know if it was a Claudette or I think it was that one new chick. I forgot. She was like the other survivor that was new. I forgot her name. Sable? Yeah, I think that's her name. Make a long story short, she was in the, I got hooked and somehow Sable got caught in basement. And then Nancy was just trying to heal up. Me and Nancy, we've already been chased like twice. So the game is not going well, but the gens need to get done. And it's like, David, you are not injured. You were not chased. You were never hooked. Why are you not coming to get anybody off the hook was beyond me. And then you had the nerve to be streaming. Not that you have the nerve, but in my mind, I'm like, oh, so you streaming. Let me go ahead and slide in real fast. See, I speak my mind. I don't care. See, one thing about people got to understand, people in real life, right? And people who watch me or listen to these podcasts, I speak my mind. Is it toxic that I had to go to the stream? No, I didn't have to, but I did. I'm on that. I called him a bot. You're a bot. Because there's no way you sat on that gen and said, I'm not about to help your whole teammate. See, it could be, hey, you know what? Everybody needs some type of therapy. Everybody needs a break from DBD. But DBD is a very interesting game because I think I get more screwed over from my teammates than I've ever done with Killer. Killer is very annoying. The only thing I don't like about Killer is that the devs listen to Killer's cries more than Survivor, and they want to make sure the status quo is Killers win more than Survivors win. So they will buff Killers even at the small percentage of players who are like comp teams, or even though that's like very arbitrary on like their rules and what they allow and restrictions and stuff like that. But they will listen to Killer and they will buff Killer. They will do all of these things, and imagine buffing all these Killers like Trickster, making them more unbearable to go against, especially in a lot of open maps. It gets highly frustrating to go against every day. But it's still not the same as going into a match and you have Survivors about to just throw the game. And whether you be nice or not, you still can never tell them. I tell a lot of Survivors, I wouldn't care what you do. It's just that you are on my team. I don't even play Killer like that, but I can easily jump on Killer. And when I did, I used to average at least a 2K or more, which means I was never losing my games. Yeah, I got a 4K. Yeah, I got a kill. Yeah, I did all of that stuff. And a lot of Survivors was throwing the game. I could have camped. I could have tunneled. I could have did it. I just chose not to. But it's not wrong if you want to. So I just want to be very clear for those who listen and watch me. If you want to camp and tunnel, go right ahead. And I'm a Survivor main. And I'm not a noob. I think that Survivors have this entitled, egotistical thing about them that they cannot lose. They're supposed to always get somebody out of the game. I got another video coming out about the 99 gates. I had a video that I'm going to talk about where this Nia, I was ace. This Nia, she 99 the gate and she blocked it. Now, a lot of times Survivors will block if I'm trying to open up that gate. And I'm going to tell you why. And I had to like, a lot of time I try to like fake like I'm about to heal them or do like a spinning rule, or like I run around and act like I'm about to go for the save. And then I just turn around and just like open the gate, because a lot of Survivors have this misconception about Blood Warden. I can't see the stats of how often or how less Blood Warden is used, but I'm going to tell you this right now. Because I'm a numbers guy, Blood Warden is rarely ever a thing. Rarely ever. I mean, you might get a Freddy who's somebody who just started playing DBD and say, hey, I just want to get this adept, and they have Blood Warden. Blood Warden is hardly a thing. That's not to say that it's not used. It's just very rare. And you try to tell these Survivors, please open the gate, because during that match when I was ace and that Nia was blocking the gates because she wanted me to heal her, you guys know our favorite thing that happened in DBD, when you're trying to do something but you're not trying to do something, but you're close to that animation, it makes you do it. For example, I quote unquote love, which clearly means I don't, when Survivors camp underneath that pallet while I'm in chase, and that's the only pallet in town that I can use, right? Walmart don't have more pallets. There's no pallets you can get from any other store, from local stores. You can't DoorDash a pallet. There's no other pallets around me, but I need to use that pallet, sir or ma'am, and yet I can't because you're camping the pallet. And when I'm trying to throw it down, it will proc me to heal you, and then I end up getting smacked down for free. And that just irritates me, because again, that's just like another thing that Survivors just don't seem to understand. We end up hurting each other. So to make a long story short, when I've tried to open up that 99 gate, that Nia was injured, and she kneeled down for me to heal her. But I was trying to open up the gate because Chucky's unpredictable. We're going against the Chucky, by the way. Chucky's unpredictable with his hidey hole phase, because he's always in his hoe phase, because he's a hoe. So he was just in his hoe phase, but also to add hidey hole phase. That's what he was in. And so I'm like, okay, that survivor is on death hook. Let's just try to hope, open up the gate and just try to get out of here if you want to. If you ain't got nothing to do, let's just leave. No, she proceeded to block the gate and she wouldn't move. And I kept trying to proc the gate to open. I'm pointing towards the gate. She stayed kneeled down at the gate and I could not open it. The moment I did open it, Chucky was already there and I died. So, and just remember, we don't have natural comms. Because just imagine if he actually had, like, if I was in a team, right? If I was actually in comms and that survivor did that. I mean, if you're new and you're a subscriber, I might be chill with it a little bit. I'm not going to be chill, but I'm going to be, like, chill out on, like, how I react to you. But I promise you, if this is, like, a regular, like, Call of Duty lobby thing, I'm on your ass. Do you understand me, boy? Pause. Right? Because you're blocking the gate. Blood Warden is rarely a thing. Stop holding up the gates. I don't want the in-game collapse to, like, this is why. And it's like, you cannot tell these survivors anything, y'all. Like, I want killers to understand this. How do you think good survivor mains who actually knows what they're doing? And I understand, like, there's levels to the game. But I think I know what I'm doing as survivor for those who watch me, right? I know how to do a little bit. How do you think it feels when you are losing against a mid-killer, no disrespect to the killer, and you have survivors on your team who just do not understand and get it? And then it's just like, what's the point? I mean, clearly a lot of people hate playing Survivor. That's why there's always blood point bonus mostly to play Survivor. How do you think that make us feel? To know that. And then we had a killer who also wanted to be a dick. And then we just lose. That's what people DC. And people also DC because they just feel like, the game is just unwinnable against a scope merchant, whatever. But that's the whole point. It's just a whole lot of stuff going on. So just to make a long story short, I mean, I didn't even get into, like, people talking about, like, other people's looks, like streamers and content creators and survivors. Oh, if a survivor got camped by a Bubba in a basement and then they go to that person's stream and I remember, and I said this before, I remember this nurse, and I'm about to end the podcast episode. I'm about to end this soon, but the nurse camped and did something, I don't know, but this Nia or Ace, whatever, but it was a full Swift, they died. The killer won. They end up going to their streamers because they see, oh, it's a TTVer. They love saying TTVer. Like, I don't know what a TTVer is, right? A TT dinner type shit. A TV dinner type shit. But, like, yeah, end up going to that person's stream. And this is one of the saddest, outrageous things I've ever seen because I'm never going to talk about somebody's looks. I'm never going to talk about somebody's, like, I mean, I get it, right? We all different. We all, we're all humans at the end of the day. We're all trying, right? I'm not going to talk about your views. But if you are an ass at the game, I'm going to talk about that, right? No, so I'll keep about the gameplay. If you're new, I'll be a little light, but if you're one of them cocky survivors, I'm definitely gonna get on your ass, okay? But to make a long story short, they went to this person's stream, the killer stream. Survivors love doing that. Went to this killer stream, and I guess it was on the streak with Nurse, and then they talked about how bad they were. You camp, you tunnel, you slug, whatever. Again, killers just trying to live their life, B. You know what I mean? Just trying to enjoy the day. And then Survivor, the streamer had rest in peace Mama Bear, and I think that was referring to either their mom or their grandmother or whoever, right? And I don't care who you are in DBD. I don't care how mad you are in DBD. I don't care what you have ever done to me in DBD, right? I'm never gonna say what this person have said to this streamer. They said, and it made $0.00 of what they said. They said, well, maybe, right? If you didn't camp and tunnel, Mama Bear will still be alive. So, I mean, think about it. Like, why? Why go to that far? Like, why do all that? Right? And see, there are some Survivor mains who will get mad and they'll listen to stuff like this and they'll get upset because they think, this community is divided. If you're a killer main, you ain't supposed to have Survivor views. And vice versa. If you're a survivor, man, you ain't supposed to really feel for killer that much. At least not publicly, right? It's like political. It's like a gang-related stuff, right? It's like the gang-related stuff. Like, bro, like, this is like, you ain't supposed to be talking about that out loud. You're supposed to be on our side. I'm never for that. I'm never for you talking about somebody, talking about the dead and somebody who misses them. It's just a video game, you bum. It's just a video game. I lost 3 people in the past year. 2 grandfathers and a cousin who wasn't even 21. So it's really it's just a real feeling to still think about, because you still have to go on with your life. And then, DBD is an escape place for many people. I like to think that I can provide that with people. I read comments, people saying, hey man, I really appreciate your stream, or even just what I'm doing here, and they love to listen. And I love to be that person where on a Sunday night, you coming home from work, or you resting before you have to go to work, and you just listen. Or hey, there's somebody who told me, hey man, I love listening to you before I go to work. The fact that I'm reaching people in different countries and cities and states is crazy. Just what I'm doing here. So I like to feel like what I do matters. So I don't like that people get so upset when you don't understand that there are, like, especially like the OG parents and like the generations before us. Like, I'm a millennial, there's Generation X, and there's people higher than that, and there's people even in my generation, like, they don't understand like gaming as much. Like, they don't understand why people just aren't outside. And I'm not saying stay inside. You should definitely go and get some sun, right? Definitely go and do that. I mean, if you're close to hitting people 100, hurry up and get it done. I get it, but like at the same time, like, go outside, work out, do what you got to do, eat healthy. But I also understand and appreciate that people watch my streams for an escape, because that's what I do for other people's streams, content. Life is lonely for some of us. Okay, life is lonely. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but even as far as dating out here, I mean, there's a lot of people who aren't dating, men or women, and people are walking away. People don't have pets, or they can only have their cats, so whatever. And then they gotta work a job. They gotta deal with customers. They gotta deal with paying bills. They must buy that new Fung skin, right? That one that costs like $15-$20 damn near. With the whole LED lights. I already had to go cop that one. I had to go get that one. You know what I mean? I had to go get that one. But like, people just want to be happy, and if they can come to somebody's stream and escape, whether you are watching the killer, whether you are watching the streamer that's a survivor main, or even if it's not DBD, but let's just stick to DBD, that's a win. And I would like to think that I'm giving back to some degree in the world. Please let me know if I'm giving back to some degree, that this is comforting for you to listen to. Whether you are a killer man or survivor man, I will close with this. Especially if you are a streamer, if you're a content creator, no one's perfect. Everybody wants to play the game. Everybody's human. You don't know what the people are going through. And there's times I even have to think to myself, like, hey, you know what? Maybe I'm out of bounds. The ref seen I'm out of bounds. I caught the ball out of bounds, so I must be out of bounds, right? And it's like, I try to remember that, hey, we're all humans at the end of the day. We're all trying to live life. We're all trying to get through this journey. And, hey, even if you go to somebody's stream and they don't have that many subs or follow, man, or hell, there's times I go to somebody's stream and I'll, tip them, a gift sub, or, I'll do that just to show love, because people want to feel like what they do matters, man. There's times I see people with no views and I'm just like, hey, let me go ahead and just say hello, have a conversation with them. Don't, like, what I mean? Just try to put yourself in that person's shoes. And a lot of times people don't do that often. I've noticed that. So, I'll leave you with that. I'll end it here. In DBD, I think that I will still forever stand like that. I think that both sides can be toxic. The community in general needs more work, more consideration. But I just think that if you play Survivor, Killer would definitely obviously say it's more survivors being more toxic towards each other. I just think that survivors, they throw the game a lot because they don't work as a team. They're very altruistic when they want to be. They don't want to do gens, but I think that overall is the biggest issue is, outside of talking about somebody's gameplay or skins or whatever you have or whatever character you use or wherever your playstyle is, I think it just gets even worse when a survivor who's, because I honestly, like, a lot of killers are more humble because they know that they'll lose a lot of their games if they're not that good. But a lot of times survivors know, like, like they put the flashlights, the clickety clack, they have to even nerf it just so people won't, a lot of times people are just new and they're just trying to learn the game. So if they're using Meg, let them be. If they're using Claudette and it's default skin, relax. It's just a game. So, yeah. Other than that, I'm gonna leave it there. I appreciate you guys listening. Runtime is always going to be between, let's say, 40 to like 2 an hour. So I'll try to do these episodes. I'm going to try to upload the other content. Is going to be on, I don't know, maybe Wednesday or something. I got to go back to work Tuesday. So I've been off almost 11 days now. So I'm just trying to get this done, edit it. But let me know your thoughts, man. Please let me know. I want to hear more. Let me know if your games are good as killer or survivor. I want to hear more killer mains talking, my community as well. It's not just a survivors only community. I think that anybody get to know me and they listen to my podcast or just videos in general, they'll learn that I'm on both sides of accountability. Killer or survivor, to do better if you need to do better. No one's owed anything. If you want to play a play style, the only thing I can say is that obviously it sucks if you play as survivor and then you have teammates who don't want to do it, but that's just the nature of DBD. That's just how it's gonna be. So you already know how that goes. But other than that, I'm good. I appreciate you guys watching or listening. Definitely listen to these a lot more and let me know your thoughts. Please like, share, and subscribe all of this and share them. But definitely hit that like, y'all. I cannot on YouTube, they don't always push videos. They don't always do things, and it makes me feel better knowing, because I would do these every week. Not that I want to get lazy, and not ever do other stuff. I know they got Dracula out here for randomly Dracula and stuff. Like, we just got Vic now. I don't know how we got him now. And I did a video about should we keep the 2v8. I did a past video about them getting rid of the prestige icons, so that way you don't have to see it. So you can let me know what you guys think about that. But just watch these videos. Please watch these videos and let me know what you guys think. But hey, until next time, appreciate you guys. Love you. Thank you for showing your support as always. Have a blessed day out here. Stay safe. And